You have been overtaken on the left by May. Thornberry left squirming as she refuses to admit the Tories are promising more cash for the NHS than Labour for first time in modern politics. Emily Thornberry was left squirming on air today as she was challenged over whether Labour will match the Tory Party's £20 billion funding boost for the NHS. Labour have pledged to increase healthcare funding by just 2% over the next 5 years, whereas Theresa May has today announced plans to hike it by 3.4%. The shadow Foreign Secretary was grilled by presenter Andrew Marr on whether her party has been overtaken on the left by the PM, despite Jeremy Corbyn's apparent radicalism. Appearing on the BBC's Andrew Marr show, Mrs. Thornberry repeatedly refused to admit the Tories are promising more money for the NHS than Labour for the first time in modern politics. And she refused to be drawn over whether Labour will try to match the pledge, saying she would not make up policy on air. Mrs. Thornberry, a close ally of Mr. Corbyn, said she welcomes the funding pledge, but warned the PM may not be trusted to deliver it and that social care also needs more funding. She said, "They say they are going to increase taxes, we have yet to hear who is going to have a tax increase. They have not said how much more borrowing there will be." Quizzing her on Labour's NHS funding promises, the show's presenter Mr. Marr said, "For the first time in modern political history the Conservatives are offering more for the NHS than the Labour Party." Mrs. Thornberry replied, "It goes hand in hand with social care, we have not heard anything about social care. So if you add that on actually you may find that these raw figures don't quite paint the picture that you're saying." The presenter pressed on saying, "The Conservatives are promising a great deal more than the Labour Party." The Labour frontbencher looked uncomfortable as she repeatedly refused to admit the Labour Party's funding pledge lags far behind the government's. She said, "People know they can trust the Labour Party with the NHS. We created it. We have had 8 years of underfunding of the NHS and it is now at the point of collapse. The Labour Party will spend what is needed on the NHS. I am not going to be developing Labour Party policy on your programme. Our figures make sense, we have yet to hear the Tory figures." But Marr pointed out that under Mr. Corbyn Labour was now offering less money for the NHS than the Tories for the first time in the party's history. He said, "It is extraordinary, you are being very fiscally responsible. You are supposed to be this radical party. You have been overtaken on the left by Theresa May." But the shadow minister insisted the country will have to wait to see how the government's funds all add up. The PM appeared on the same show to announce the funding boost for the NHS to mark its 60th birthday. She said, "Some people may remember seeing a figure on the side of a bus a while back of £350 million a week in cash. Well, I can tell you what I am announcing will mean that in 2023-24, there will be about £600 million a week in cash, more in cash, going into the NHS." But she warned that borrowing and taxes may also have to rise to bankroll the cash injection.